probiotics really symptom specific. So giving you a particular probiotic that's much more customized to your individual need rather than just a probiotic that has 20 different strains. It's probably not going to do a whole lot for you.
You know, we work a lot with these spore-based probiotics. Spore-based probiotics are really an interesting category of probiotics that we really kind of developed and discovered over the last decade. The interesting thing about spore-based probiotics is that they've been here for millions of years, right? They've been ubiquitous in the environment. They're found in the soil, they're found in rocks and rivers and streams and vegetation. Our ancestors have been consuming them inadvertently for millions of years because our ancestors ate dirt. They inevitably ate dirt when they dug for roots and tubers, they picked fruits, they killed animals, and they ate the contents of the intestines. They got a lot of spore-based probiotics within their system. Now, what makes them spore-based? Well, these are unique bacteria that have the capability of forming something called an endospore. That means they can cover themselves in a protein calcified armor. That allows them to exist in the outside environment, which is an environment that doesn't support the growth of gut-based bacteria, right? Most gut-based bacteria are anaerobic, and that's important to note because anaerobic bacteria, the moment they're exposed to oxygen, they die almost immediately. So the vast majority of bacteria in your gut are anaerobic, and most people will be surprised to know that most of your gut does not contain oxygen. It's an anaerobic environment. And so just coming out of the body and being exposed to things like UV radiation or the dryness outside, that alone will kill the vast majority of bacteria that live in your gut. What's unique about spores is they can live in the gut environment, that anaerobic environment, but then they can come out of the gut through defecation and survive indefinitely in the outside environment because of this armor-like coating. Now, they also can survive through the gastric system when you reconsume them again. So they can pass through your stomach acid, which kills the vast majority of bacteria that enter your system. They can pass through the bile salts in your small intestine, and they can get to the site of action in the terminal end of the small intestine and the large intestine alive and functioning in order to clean up the system for you. What's really interesting about spore-based probiotics is it seems that we've developed this really important symbiotic relationship with them. We have basically given them a home, which we pick them up from the environment, we give them a home, and their job is to clean up the home. They do all kinds of important housekeeping functions in our home, including targeting overgrown and potentially harmful bacteria. They have been used in the prescription drug market since 1952 as a treatment for gut infections because they're so good at going in, identifying the presence of overgrown and pathogenic bacteria. They'll sit next to them and they'll produce things like antimicrobials to bring down the growth of those bacteria. Now, what we have found through our research is they also do the opposite. As they're bringing down dysfunctional bacteria, they actually support the growth of really beneficial bacteria, including those keystone strains, those really important microbes that support overall health. And then the third thing that they do that's really important is they seal up the tight junctions within the gut. They seal up the gut lining so that leakiness in the gut doesn't exist anymore. So the spores play a very critical role in maintenance of the health and functionality of our microbiome. So the most important types of spore-based probiotics you should be looking for are Bacillus endospores. So Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus coagulans, Bacillus indicus, these are the most well-studied and well-documented spores that have been used for decades in the treatment of all kinds of gut infections and gut issues, including leaky gut, including inflammatory conditions, and so on. Now, those are going to be the most important foundational probiotics that you need to get into your system. There are others as well. There are lactobacillus and bifidobacteria-based products. Now, with those products, what you want to do is ensure that the products themselves have finished clinical trials on them so that you know what the product actually does within your system. In fact, any probiotic you take should have clinical trials on the finished formula so that we have an understanding of what they actually do within the gut, within the microbiome. Because in some cases, and this has been demonstrated through studies, in some cases they can actually have a negative impact on your microbiome, right? So just because it's a probiotic, it doesn't necessarily mean it's safe and beneficial for you. The presence of clinical and other studies on understanding what the probiotic actually does in your gut is really, really important before you actually start on a probiotic product. So look for that. Look for something that talks about the studies they have done on the finished product itself.